Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching Persistent Bosses. My name is Lisa Laird. I am the owner and CEO of NOLA Persistence, and here is my show. On this show, we talk about overcoming obstacles, trying to get through the different objections and the rejections. I always say my show is the show that doubters love to hate because we celebrate the wins and we talk about the journey to get into wins. My next guest definitely understands winning, but you better believe he has a journey. He has shown creativity is not a talent, it's a skill. You don't get better with creativity unless you keep trying. You don't get better with success unless you fail over and over again and improve by what you've learned. One of the things I love about him is that 9 years ago, I'm watching videos on social media and I see a video about making fun of people throwing beads off a Mardi Gras float. You're not from New Orleans, but we love to celebrate our Mardi Gras. And it was great how each character, he was on point. To you, you may say he's funny. To me, he's creative. He came up with an idea and I guarantee you he rehearsed and practiced before he posted that. Now he's at 1.9 million on Facebook. He has a lot of followers. Instagram over 500. TikTok, YouTube, he's growing. People do not follow luck. They follow hard work. People follow him because they want to learn from him. When you have a lot of followers, you're definitely going to have those doubters come in, not because they think you're weak. It's because they're not quite at your level and they want to know how to get there without asking for help. Today, we're going to have some great talks with him, learn how we can grow and how he grows as a business owner. So everyone, please, round of applause. It's just me. DJ Rhett from Holland, Louisiana. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Sha. I'm excited.
Do?
You went. I mean, that was like felt like you were talking at my eulogy or something like that. You know, it's like it's great. So yeah, that was a great introduction.
Well, and I'm gonna say this: it was great because it was true. Uh-huh. I believe when someone presents something that's fake, the audience feels it. And you know that as an entertainer. You know when someone gets on stage, if it's real, if it's fake, or it's a scenario, if it's something that paints a picture. We all live that. I'm a public speaker, so I don't do what you do, but I have to keep the crowd interested.
Right.
I want to be called back, and that's the truth. So again, your online presence is heavy, but you heard me talk about creativity.
Right.
I want to go into creativity because, like I said, you can have all the talent in the world to be creative, but if you do not execute, you're not going to use that. I hate to go into sports. I always think about a talented football player.
Who's that?
There's so many of them, but when they're talented and they don't have good direction, good coaching, they don't make it.
It's true.
And I have to say, you are creative, you are driven, but you have made it. So I want you to take this moment. If someone said, "Who's DJ Rhett? What does he do?" What would you tell them?
Well, should we go back to the beginning when I was a little boy, or should we start back? Like,
well,
how
I'm
did
sure you went to school in the 90s like me. You didn't say, "I'm going to be all over social media."
Right.
So when did that happen for you? When did you decide, "I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to be me"?
Well, it started when I was like a young age. I was always fascinated with TV. You know, I would Saturday morning cartoons. I grew up. I was born in '77, so I grew up in the '80s. And I was like, first thing Saturday morning, you wake up and you go straight to the TV and you're watching your Saturday morning cartoons. Then we had a lot of sitcom shows out. We had like, the Dukes of Hazzard. We had Chips. We had like just family, All in the Family. Like just crazy amount of entertainment we used to have in the '80s and '90s.
Full House, all
Family
of that
Ties, stuff. Saved by the Bell, all of that stuff. And I was just so fascinated with TV production, how they came up with that stuff, acting, singing. So when I was about 13 years old, my dad was like, you're going to have to start thinking about, you're 15, you're going to get a worker's permit, you're going to start working and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I just felt like I was just born, Right. And I was like, I didn't want to like bag groceries. I didn't want to do stuff like that. I wanted to do something that had purpose.
That's right.
So my dad was like, well, what are you going to do? Well, my uncle at the time lived with us and he was a musician. So he played the guitar. He could play any instrument. And I was just fascinated about it. I was like, golly, I want to do that. But I never had the patience to sit down and learn an instrument. I just never did. But I was so intrigued with music. So my dad was like, well, why don't you start DJing? Hence DJ Rhett. And I was like, okay, fine. So he bought me a little pair of speakers, a little Radio Shack mixer board. And I used to DJ the little kid dances at the local gyms, that you pay $5 to get in, and, mom
But
and dad.
what that tells me, he believed in whatever you wanted
Oh,
to
yeah,
do.
definitely.
That's beautiful.
And I started DJing and did that for years. And then I just liked the feel of being not the center of attention, but putting smiles on people's faces,
That's
making
right.
them dance, making them do some crazy stuff, making them feel happy. And then my uncle was in a band, and I was like, man, I want to do that. So I started singing in a band with them, a local band over here called Rochambeau. They're still together, but it's all totally different. I think there's one original member in there. So I sang for about 8 years, did that, and then social media started breaking out when I was like right after college. I graduated from Nichols in 2000, and MySpace came around. I think around 04, I think it was.
So you had to have your music in the background.
Oh,
You had to order your friends.
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
you moved someone, it was on.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's great. You had to put your friends in order. It's not like now, like it's just
And your
random.
spouse better be number 2.
Oh yeah. And then YouTube came out. I opened up a channel in 06, and I just started putting like little family videos, little funny videos of me, doing mixing music together, just really just simple stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a little small following from that. And then Facebook came out, I think in 07, 08, but
It's
I
around that time.
didn't really
Yeah.
open one until about 09. And Facebook, right when it started open, it was almost like Twitter. Like you can only have so many characters.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even upload video. I think it was just pictures.
Don't you hate the memories that pop up and you're like, I posted that?
Oh yeah, no, I used to be big time in the P90X, and I'm like, I hit 500 push-ups, and I'm like, why did you post that? You look like an idiot, But yeah, so I started posting on that, and then I was DJing, and I said, I'm from South Louisiana, and everything I look at around here is just through Louisiana eyes. Okay.
Right.
So I'm like, and you guys I know you're from out of state and everything, but it's like Louisiana is like so rich in culture. It's like, it's a whole new country around here.
I'm West Bank born and raised.
Yeah.
So I know it.
So I was like, okay, how can I use this to, be funnier or do like skits and stuff like that? And so one of the skits that I did was the Mardi Gras one, because you have every genre of person on a Mardi Gras float, and you have the drunk ones, you have the organized ones, you have the ones that just don't care, you have the ones that spend so much money, you got the cheap people, you got the
anyone that's rowing a parade can relate.
Right. So I did that one day. I just turned on the camera and I did it, and I think it had like 3 million views within the first week, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then I just started, experimenting with different things. And I was a DJ. And one little knack that I've always had was as I was DJing, I would make up my own words to different songs. Mm-hmm. So, and change the meaning of it to a Louisiana meaning. And then one day I was one of my former employees, they had a studio, and I just went mess around in the studio a little bit. And the guy goes, he was like, you do this little knack where you can, sing and change stuff. And he was like, he says, what about this? And it was when we had iPod. The iPod shuffler was still like popular. Like that. I think that was one and done when that came out. But he hit it, and the first song that came on was "Free Fallin'" by Tom Petty. And I was like, "We trawlin'," and he goes, "Huh?" And then so I got on the microphone and started, she's a good boat, loves the water. Just started, and he was like, dude, and he pulled out and we just started writing, and within 5 minutes, the song was written, and we just recorded it and we put it out, and that kind of kicked off my whole parody deal. And then, I just kept at it, and like you said earlier, the world's going to let you know if you suck or not. They just will, and they'll let you know if you're a phony, and if they really believe in what you're doing. So it's like I just kept doing it. Nobody, and of course, you're gonna have haters. You're gonna have people that just don't. But those are the people that are like, they don't think you. They think you're a one-hit wonder. Mm-hmm. But just like in sales, like you were talking about, you have to put the work in. It ain't just like, oh, I'll go knock on a door and you get a yes. No, you're gonna get no all day long. And then you're going to get that yes. And it's the same thing with social media. It's like you put something out there and, that wasn't your best work. But I always say that my wife's like, why did that video go viral? I'm like, I don't know. Right. I thought that one would have went viral, but it's just, you put it out there and the world's going to let you know if it's good or not. And I just kept on doing it. And here we are today. And I'm doing comedy and all kind of stuff.
But here's the whole message to me. You did it. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer in this quote. If you don't take risks, you're just going to work for people that do. You
got to be persistent. You have to, and you got to be willing to take the hits too, because social media is a very, very, it could be a very awful place if you let it be, because you could have 100 people tell you, oh, you're doing a great job. And, you're reading all the positive messages, and it's that one message that say, you suck, da, 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 and you take that to heart and you sit down, well, do I suck? And then if you let it take you that path, you're going to go that path. But I've learned over the years, it's just the more haters you got, the better you're off.
You're doing something right, because haters are not going to pay attention to people who aren't being known, who aren't being successful.
Right.
That's just reality. But when you see that bad review, mm-hmm. you have to almost think, are they saying that to get more attention on them? Because people will say anything on social media if it draws attention. Some people are not attracted by followers. They're mm-hmm. attracted by attention.
Right.
So you have to be smart enough to not look at that. Now, I'm nowhere near in your growth, but I know what you're saying. I'll post sales videos and someone's like, that sounds stupid. And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, buddy, let me take you cold calling in Metairie or New Orleans, Louisiana. We're going to see how sweet people are to you. There are techniques, there are formats. But then I look back and I'm like, you know what? When I went to his page, because I had to go to his page.
Oh, yeah.
He's got 25 followers. It's probably a new account he set up. But,
and he's single.
But guess what?
That's what makes me laugh the most.
He's got a picture with him and his
Somebody's
cat.
talking all kind of stuff. Yeah, their profile picture is a cat, and then they're single. I'm like, come on, dude.
Some people, you cannot satisfy them. But with all your followers, you're obviously doing something right. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to bring this subject up to you, because I know we're talking a lot about social media. Mm-hmm. You have now went in the direction of doing more comedy shows. Mm-hmm. So even though you have the social media presence, do you still struggle with trying to get gigs or trying to follow up? Or are all your leads coming from social media?
Pretty much all of them are coming from social media.
That's awesome.
And with the following that I have, and people I've heard of DJ Rhett, or I've seen some of his stuff. It's kind of easy for me to go into, I'm in sales right now. I'm in the all field sales. So when I go to a place like Lafayette, or I go to a place like Lake Charles or whatever, and I do some cold calling, I'll knock on the door or whatever, walk in, hey, don't want to take too much time. I know everybody's busy. I just want to leave my card in case I could take somebody else's card too. I'll call and make an appointment later. And the secretary is looking at me and she's like, I know you from somewhere. And I was like, just picture me with a wig and lip sync. And she's like, DJ Rhett, oh, you don't need an appointment. Come on in. And it's a really good icebreaker, from that standpoint. But I always go in with the mindset of they don't know who I am, because there's a lot of social media people out there that let it go to their head.
Oh, who you telling?
Big time. And I'm like, I've always had that humbleness about me. Like, no, don't let it get to your head. Don't ever expect somebody's going to know you, because I get it all the time. People be like, this is DJ Rhett. And then their friends like, who's that? And then they looking at me, who's that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, who am I? I don't know, And so I always try to take that humble approach. I always do that. But it does help in the sales, atmosphere to have that following. It makes it a little easier.
So cold call to cold caller. So when I'm teaching someone cold calling, I always tell them this. So don't get offended when you walk in someone's business. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, they don't want you in there. Number two, they don't want to like you. Number three, they don't want to buy from you. There are 3 objections before you say a word. Yeah. But as soon as you deliver it right, think of the high that is that you overcame the 3 things that 100 other salesmen couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you agree with this, but when someone says, well, we don't like soliciting, I'm like, well, you have billboards, you have commercials, you have business cards. Aren't we in the same business? So you don't solicit. Mm. That's a whole nother subject I can get on. Right. We may need to cold call one day just to see what we can get. Mm-hmm. Why not? I'd love to do that, because that's what I teach. Another thing I want to touch on with you is just being creative. Like when you make a video or you're thinking of an idea, how do you test it? Or do you just put it out there and
just
see what happens?
Put it out there. Like so for instance, like my wife always tells me this. She's look, me and my wife have been together since we're 15 years old.
Oh.
So we've been together 33 years, married for 23. So she knows me in and out. I know her in and out. And when she tells me like, she goes, that's a good idea. I typically think it's not a good idea when she says it. And then when she says, oh God, please don't post that, I post it because I know something's, it's irks her or whatever. It's probably because it's like, over the top. I don't want people to know that. But no, I observe people a lot. Oh, yeah. Like we'll be at a restaurant, me and my wife, and she might be talking to me, and I'm not paying attention to her. I'm paying attention to the people next door. Their kids, the 5, 6, 7 different divorces, and I know every conversation that's going on around me, and I soak that in like a sponge because it's everyday real life problems that people go through, and then if I can just put a little funny joke on that, like a little button on that, like kind of tell the story and then all of it and hit them with the punchline. People relate to that because it's everyday situations. And that's when I go on stage and I start talking, doing stand-up comedy, I'll take different situations. Like, one of the things I do is I talk about my dad. He passed away about 2 years ago from cancer. Everybody knows somebody or has gone through a situation where they lost somebody to cancer. Well, I try, even though it's hard, I try to make light of it and make fun of it. And my dad always told me this. He goes, hey man, when I pass away, I want you to do some jokes about me and stuff. And I'm like, no problem. So I do the jokes, and it's real and it's raw. And I mean, I've had people in my shows go from laughing hysterically to crying to every emotion they can think of. And then at the end of the show, they come up to me and they're like, man, I'm glad you told that story about your dad because, it makes me feel better knowing that, it's okay to cry. It's okay to, it's okay to go through the emotions that you go through. And we're not here for a long time. We're only here for a little while. So why not make it fun?
All right. So we went over your creativity. We obviously know that you have the credibility that you do online. You make people laugh. So how can someone help you? You want to grow your comedy show. So how do they reach out to you? Do they contact you on social media? What are the steps? Because there are so many casinos, venues going on that are always looking for entertainment. And I think that you guys can deliver a great show, especially in Louisiana, because we love telling jokes about ourselves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of the time they just reach out to me on my page, DJ Rhett at Facebook, or we also have a website called couillonsofcomedy.com. It got so big at one point where I had to get some other comedians in with me, and plus we got a manager now too, so he books all the venues and takes care of all the back.
That was my next question.
The back stuff, and all we really do is just go up on stage and do our thing, And I mean, we're all production guys at heart, so we all bring our cameras and lights, and we all have a hand in doing.
There's 4 comedians.
It's 4 comedians. Yep. We have they're all out of Louisiana. Well, one of them is from Nashville, Tennessee, but he's been living in Ponchatoula for the past 15 years, I think. One's from Houma, but he lives in Brobridge, and another one is from Grand Isle. So we got a lot of
Louisiana support.
Louisiana everywhere, yeah. So most of our jokes and most of our stories that we tell on stage is about Louisiana and our culture, and we try to make it funny, poke fun at everything from king cakes to Mardi Gras to to how hot it is in the summer times and to how bipolar the weather is, just everything, and our little take on it. But we, if you want to book a show, I would say just go to Couillons of Comedy.
So, and here's something funny. So I'm a speaker. I go around, do shows, seminars all the time. And I'll have the same people follow me show to show. Do you change your material? Do you get more creative, or is it always the same show? Or do you change up the jokes a little bit in the format?
Well, what we kind of do is you ever been to I use this analogy all the time. John Bon Jovi. Okay. If you go to one of his concerts, he's always going to play "Living on a Prayer." You know what I'm saying? It's going to be that's going to be his go-to. but he also has new songs that he interjects into the song, into his set list too. That's what we do. We have our standard jokes that we always do, but we also add a little lagniappe here and there. And then we also do a little crowd, not like Matt Rife crowd work, but we, like this past weekend, we were in Jennings, for example, and Jennings is known for like the murder capital of Louisiana. Okay. So we incorporated that in our set. So, we come out to theme music, and one of the theme music that I come out to is, some Cajun Zydeco music. After that, I said, every city in Louisiana has their own theme music. And I said, Houma, and I played some Zydeco. And then, I make fun of Lafayette area. So I played Cotton Eye Joe for them. And then when I came, I said, Jennings, y'all even have your own theme music. And I played Unsolved Mysteries theme.
God.
And they all bust out laughing. So it's like, we try to learn a little bit about the city that we're going to play in to kind of incorporate some jokes in there too. And it works. So, and then we play off of each other. All the comedians, like, some of them come in during my set. I go in some of the, their sets and everything. We just play. It's a good thing.
But it's rehearsing collaboration. So Kevin Hart, I love Kevin Hart. He was actually doing an interview how when he first started out in stand-up, it was like him, Chris Rock, and Dave Chappelle. He's like, we all went up in front of each other, doing our gig. Right. He said, Dave Chappelle goes last. He's like, me and Chris Rock just ripped up our papers because he like just came out with all this new stuff. They're like, we got to adjust. So my point is, when you're working with all these comedians, you better each other. You probably hear how someone delivers something. You're like, oh, wow, I'm going to try that execution. Right. So I think you not being the only comedian helps.
Well, we have a call once a week, and we critique each other. And we said this from the beginning. Look, this is not a, putting you down. This is to make us whole, like better as a group. Right. So, and we check all our emotions at the door, and we say, hey, look, hey, I love this joke, but maybe if you tell it this way and give it a little bit more delivery, it might hit. And, or sometimes we might just throw the joke out totally because it just doesn't work the way we think. But that comes over time. You just work on your material, and you get, it's like batting, you're not going to swing and hit home runs all the time, but the more you practice, the more you're going to hit that ball. It's the same thing with comedy. It's the same thing with anything like sales, like we were talking about earlier. The more at bats you have, the more success you're going to have. You just got to work out your niche. That's it. That's all you got to do. So we're completely honest with each other. We say, hey, don't say that joke again because you might offend somebody or, whatever. But we got a good thing going, and we've been doing it now for about a year. I've been doing stand-up for about 4 years on my own, but it works so much better when you have like, a couple of openers and, you have different perspectives. We have like a very colorful person. We have a woman. So you have that woman side of comedy. Then I have a very dry comic, like the office comedy kind of.
Well, it fits with the crowd.
Oh yeah. And then you got me doing my parodies and, all of my other stuff. So it works, it's got a little bit of different flavors for everybody.
I'm going to bring this full circle. So in the beginning, you went over who you are, how it started, but from the beginning, you just love the entertainment of just making people laugh because all the shows you mentioned were comedy shows.
Right.
That's just your influence. That became your passion. You didn't even know it. And look at you, we're both in our 40s. So almost 35 years later, you were doing what your passion was as a child. Can you imagine? Not all of us get to do what we love doing as a kid, and you were actually getting to live it.
Oh yeah.
So as we end this, let's say you have somebody that wants to do better on social media, be more creative, or someone that wants to be a comedian, or just in general go after what they want. What would your advice be to them?
I would say just always be true to yourself. Don't try to fake something. I know there's a lot of Cajun influencers out there, and they talk with the heavy accent, but at the end of the day, that's not how we really sound. Right. Don't too much. When I do my stuff, I act out stuff too. But I mean, it's like always at the end of the day, be true to yourself. Anybody that pays you a compliment online, like it and say thank you, or like, I appreciate you watching the videos, because they get a kick out of that. Oh, they're replying to me. They're talking to me. That helps with your the image too. read the criticism, but don't buy into the criticism, because sometimes you might have somebody that might have made a good point. Oh, you shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have did this, or, you're going to know the people who are trying to give you constructive criticism versus those who are just trying to bring you down. That's it. But I would just say, just be true to yourself and just keep at it. You have to be consistent on social media. I have a notebook next to my bed. I'll dream something and I'll wake up, or if I'm thinking about something, I'll grab it and write it down, because or put it on in your phone. Like, just write some notes down, get away from it for about a week, then go back to it, and then start building your storytelling.
We have
from that,
so much in common, because, I teach people how to do public speaking. And when everyone's like, how do you come up with material? I said, literally, I'll put my phone on record and just bring up a topic and talk for like 30 minutes. And then I'll listen to it and I'll pick out things I said, like, oh, I can play on that. Oh, that's different, because I got to change it up sometimes.
Right.
Well, we are coming to an end. This has been awesome. If you are not following him on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, DJ Rhett, please go support him. Especially anybody local from Louisiana. Let's support each other. If you need a comedy gig, if you're looking for that next venue, listen to what he just said. He is true to himself. He's authentic. That will draw a crowd, and that will keep crowds coming the next time you book them. Again, thank you for watching. Please go to Nola Favorite Solicitor on YouTube. Please subscribe, and thank you for following Persistent Bosses. Thank you.